Hey guys, Chris Dick here. So today I'm going to show you how to install Hiveserver2. And Hiveserver2 is a pretty cool little tool. It allows you to have remote access to your Hive data store. Now, that's a pretty important step here because one of the things that you really need to be able to do with your Hadoop data is access it remotely. And if with Hive Server 2 running, you'll be able to connect through ODBC. You'll also have access to a JDBC driver. These tools allow for greater connectivity for other programs, things like Excel and Power BI, Tableau. Even if you're developing an application with C Sharp or Java, Python, all of these tools have the ability of accessing either the ODBC or JDBC connection. So that's pretty neat. There's only a few configuration changes to do in your Hadoop system, which means that when we change something on the name node, we have to push it out to all of the data nodes, which isn't a big leap. We have the command already sitting here for us, so why don't we just get started? So the first thing that we're going to do is add proxy users. Now, essentially what this means is that if I log in as Chris, the Ubuntu user will be substituted as me to perform certain activities on the system. Now, if you have better security methods installed, like on your Hadoop system, it will automatically follow through with those types of security systems. However, this is a basic level of security. And if you'd like more information, you can feel free to click on this link and talk and go learn a little bit more about super users and acting on the behalf of others in Hadoop. So let's get started. So we've got to make this change to the core site XML. Now in this case, I have a nice bash script here that will make the change for us. We'll double check that it was made once we do this. So if I go over here to my putty session in my name node, I just execute that command and it's going to push that this XML code into the file. So let's go in there. We'll open that. Just go down to the bottom, and there's our changes. Super. So that's a nice, easy change. Very simple, very easy. The next thing that we have to do is synchronize those changes to our data nodes. So we're going to run this. I have 2 data nodes currently on my system here on my cluster. So I'm going to update those data nodes right now. So I'm going to update data node 1, and you'll see it makes a few changes. It shows that I'm changing core site XML, and I'll do data node 2 very quickly, and it says that's making the same changes. Notice that it copies over the log files. Those log files aren't really important on your data nodes, but whatever, they're there. So we'll just keep moving on. Now, the next thing that we have to do is make some changes to Hive site XML. Now, there's only one real change here that has to be made, and that is the Hive Server 2 transport mode. So when we load up the Hive site XML, you can go through Nano if you like. However, this might be a little bit more, a little bit easier if we load it with our WinSCP editor. So I'm going to go to my Hive directory, and this is in the configuration directory, or CONF, and we just load up the XML file here, the Hive site XML. Now it's a really big file, so you can't just step through it, and you'll have to use a find and replace kind of idea. So I'm going to highlight this and copy it, go over here and paste and find. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do here, right now the default value is binary. We're going to change that to HTTP, very simply. The next thing I'm going to show you, because there's no more changes to make, but I will show you where these values sit. You can see this one right here, the Thrift HTTP port. So if you need to change your port number, you can change this. The default, however, is 10.0.0.0.1. And let's look through a couple others here. I think after a moment you'll get the picture. This is our web UI port, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment as well. And our Thrift HTTP path. Now this is sort of like the endpoint of an API, and the default here is CLI service. You may have you could give it your own name if you like. However, the default is CLI service, and that works just fine. Okay, and the rest are just threads, and we don't need to worry too much about those in our demonstration system. So now that we have that change set up, I'll just make sure I exit out of that and I've saved the changes. I think we're pretty good. Let's start Hiveserver2. Now it's pretty easy to do. However, you do need to make sure you have Hadoop started, and you'll have to start DFS and Yarn. And remember that Hive runs on MapReduce, so you'll need to start that up with the starting of your Hive server. So we'll copy our start yarn, and we'll run that too. Now it's tempting to use start all, but it's apparently recommended not to do that, and mostly the reason is the way things shut down. Just be aware of how to use that correctly. Now here's the unique thing about Hiveserver2. If I run this command, you will start to notice that it just sort of sits there, and that is because it's a server listening for calls to it. Okay, so it's running right now, and let's just run down here. Now, what I'm saying is be patient. Sometimes Hiveserver takes a little time to start. I'm pretty sure we're ready, but let's test it right now. So what we have to do to test it is we have to duplicate this session. We just create a new PuTTY session here. And you're going to see on the left side, every time I do something against that server, it's going to react. I'm not doing it right now, but right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just check to see that it's listening. And we'll just go out here. Okay, there we go. Now it's not listening yet. It's as I said, you have to be a little bit patient. It takes some time to get started and up and running. You just got to be a bit patient. So in the meantime, what we can explore is navigating to the web UI. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you also have this new port to set up, and because of that, you have to go into your virtual machine setup. If I'm using Azure, you have to add those incoming port rules to your setup. So let's just go into our name node, and we can go into networking, and we'll do add inbound security role. Now we have two ports that we have to add here. We have port 1001, and that is, let's see, let's check out our priority here. I think I'm gonna make this. You know what? We'll just make the priority just like this. Oh, it says too much here. So let's pick a priority here. We'll do 370. Does sound good. That was the one that it was suggesting there. And let's find out what the port was for. This was our Thrift port. Okay, Thrift HTTP port, that is. And we'll go back here. Okay, Thrift HTTP port. Whoops, it doesn't like my name there, so we'll just close up our spaces. I think that does it. And we have I think the protocol is TCP/IP, and I think that should do it. Okay. Now the next one we have to do is to add the web UI port, and that one is 10,002. That's a TCP port, and we'll also make that a priority here. We'll add that to 380. And what did we call this here? This was web UI port, so we'll call that Hiveserver2 web UI port. There we go. Okay, I think we've got it here. Let's just double check on all that. We'll wait for that to start. Let's double check to see if we've got our port listening, and there we have it. Now it's a little confusing here because all it does is show that it's listening down here. It took a little time, so you do have to be a bit patient with it, but it will eventually start, and you will have it sitting there. Let's just double check that we have that. We have our inbound ports now. And let's go over to our start instructions. And it tells us to start up Ubuntu. If I was running this system locally, let's say on a VMware machine, that would work. But in this case, we're running it on Azure. So I am going to go like this. And there we have it. So we have a live Hiveserver2 set up and running. You can look at anything that's going on here. So there's lots of configuration details about it. Anything that you need to know about your current Hiveserver2. So this is actually a web server that's running here. So, okay, now we've got that set up. Now, there doesn't seem to be very much excitement going on about that, but let's do this now. We're going to now connect through BLine. And let's see, let's go to my lesson about BLine. Okay, now BLine is kind of like the next level up of Hive. It's a different command line service that allows you to interact with Hive server, and whereas Hive was kind of like the first version, if you will. It runs on MapReduce. This is a newer version, and it allows you to do everything that Hive does. So if we connect like this, we can connect directly to BLine, and right now we're not connected to any databases, but I could easily connect to my current installation of Hive by running this command. So this is a connect command. We're going to use the JDBC driver. We're connecting through Hive2 on localhost, okay, through port 10,001. You may have remembered that back from here, port 10,001. That's our HTTP port. Okay, the transport mode is HTTP, and the HTTP path is CLI service. So these are all things that you're pretty familiar with now. So let's go ahead and connect that. It's asking for our username and password, and that's our famous Ubuntu, and I'm connected. So let's see if I do show databases, what happens here. Okay, so now what it's doing is it's going out to Hive, and it's telling me here's my databases that are sitting there right now. So I'm actually using my Hive data connection right now. The next thing I want to do is I'd like to set up a ODBC connection. So one of the things that I have done here, and I'll have a more formal lesson here for setting up this connection, but I've already created an ODBC connection using the Microsoft Hive ODBC driver. It's a free download, and I'll have some notes about that too. Now, in this case, I've got a local version of this, so I'm going to reconfigure this to be the correct node information here. So let's go here. We are going to use this DNS, this host name. So right there, we'll just delete some of that stuff. Okay, and I'm just calling this Hadoop name node. The port is 10.0.0.0.1. I'm going to connect using the mechanism of authentication, just using username and password. There are lots of other types of connection methods that you can use. And then you put in your username and password here. Our transport method is HTTP. As you can see, there's binary and SASL. We are using HTTP. The HTTP options are CLI service, so that'll be you'll have to put that in if it's not there. And then the SSL options, I just don't have that enabled at the moment. Okay, so if I test this, I should have a successful connect, which I do. Okay, now if I close up that, and let's just load up Excel and see what we can find when we connect to our server. Now there's nothing there right now, so it's really not going to be very exciting, but we can connect without any trouble. So we go to the data tab, get data, other data sources, and we can go to from ODBC. Okay, and my data source should be sitting right here. And I'll click on OK. All right, super. So we have access to Hive, and right now, as I mentioned, there's nothing here, but if I wanted to do that, if I wanted to actually access the data on Hive, I could have a data source sitting there. Right now, my data source isn't very exciting because it's a fresh install. But I will be having a few more videos that show you how to connect and use the data sources. So I won't get too deep into that right now, but I do know at the moment that I have full access to my Hiveserver2. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to like and share. Have a great day. Bye-bye.